Hi there and welcome to the Dawn Show. Dawn Stens-Lamenti here. So today, a truly inspirational story about following your passions and taking the curveballs life throws at you and hitting a home run. My guest today has done that and a whole lot more. You're going to love him. He is Steve Brown, triathlete, coach, and author of the book, In Search of Center. Welcome, Steve.
Thanks, Dawn. Very happy to be here.
Oh, it's so good to have you here. And here's your book, In Search of Center. And a little later in the show, we'll have some of your family. I know you're a husband, father, grandfather, so we'll get the family connection. But I want people to know you if they don't already know you, your journey. So you started out growing up in the Philadelphia region, an athlete, health. So you're all about health.
Always have been. You know, one of those kids that grew up in Delaware County, was involved with 2, 3, 4 sports every year as a kid that I could remember, all through grade school, elementary school, or junior high, high school. Stuck with soccer, moving into college, and then adopted running and multi-sport lifestyle while in college. So yeah, literally my entire life has been kind of constant motion. Yeah. And I've come to realize that that's how I'm most happiest anyway, is as long as I'm constantly moving.
And so, when you think about it, somebody who's so thoughtful of health and fitness and working out and loving all of that, was it a shock to you when you were diagnosed with a disease that threatened your life and you say, well, not me, I'm the healthy guy?
That's exactly what I said, because you're under this false assumption that you do all the right things, you live the right lifestyle, you're taking good care of yourself, you're not engaging in activity, or you're not doing things that would be detrimental to your overall health. But yet, you're diagnosed with something that you could easily be contributed towards any number of factors that you didn't do something right. And it took me a few minutes to have it sink in and really understand that, okay, it is what it is. It's a diagnosis. We have to figure out what our next steps are. But I really played but I thought I did everything right card for quite some time before coming to grips.
And so you go through the treatment. And so what does the doctor tell you, first of all? What's the diagnosis?
Well, the doctor first tells me, I don't know what you're doing here, and I don't know what to do with you because you don't fit in my bell curve. I wasn't his standard patient. I wasn't a standard recently diagnosed patient. This disease, chronic lymphocytic leukemia, typically attacks much older men, much more sedentary men, and he couldn't equate my lifestyle and my age to this diagnosis, so he was struggling a little bit. And quite frankly, I said the same thing to him, and I said, look, I've never had an oncologist, so I'm struggling a little bit too. So maybe we can try to figure this out together, and that's what we did. I think we taught each other a lot through the process of my treatments and many follow-up visits and constant blood works and tests and PET scans and CAT scans and so on and so forth.
And so then, is that at that point when you were going through the treatment the first time around, was that when you became involved in trying to be a volunteer and spreading awareness that this lymphoma, this blood cancer, can strike anybody, anytime? I
think so. I've always used sports as a way to raise awareness in some way, because I feel like that's always been a passion of mine. It's always been something that I've done pretty well. Whatever the charity is, whatever the event is, I was always using that as a conduit to try to help make a difference. So when I was diagnosed, a giant light bulb went off, and it just became the most simple realization that, okay, now I have this love of triathlon and sport, and I have this diagnosis of chronic lymphocytic leukemia. There's a way that I can marry those two things, and there's a way that I can do some incredibly good things and turn what at first glance is probably going to be perceived as something negative into something positive, and that's what I did.
I've never heard of anybody who went to their chemo treatments and ran home from their treatments.
Now you have.
Was that important to you to say, I can do this, this is not going to beat me?
It was important to me to make an attempt to take control back in a situation that is usually looked at as uncontrollable. I have cancer. I'm going through chemotherapy. This is terrible. This is, you're one step away from the end of the train. You need to take it easy. You need to lay down. You need to go to bed. And yeah, maybe some days all those things are true, but it wasn't going to take away the core of who I was, which was health and fitness, and my love for running and for riding my bike and swimming and whatever it might be. If they were to take that away from me, my problems were going to be far, far greater than just having leukemia. So it was important on a lot of levels that I kept going, no matter how slow, no matter how short the distance, but just the emotional benefit I felt from running home from after a chemo treatment, I can't even begin to tell you what it did to me.
And did your wife think you're nuts?
Let's talk about that for a minute.
Because if my husband would say, you're right, I could just imagine my reaction.
My wife supports me 8,000% and has throughout this entire process. My wife is also a nurse, so she knows how to make the right clinical decisions and balance it with, okay, what does this crazy husband of mine really want to do? What's the safe zone in between? And how do we make it so that he can walk that fine line and walk and remain in that safe zone? And that's basically the same approach my doctor took. When we had a long conversation, we arrived at a happy place where he said, all right, look, you can do it, but be smart, don't overdo it. Listen to your body. When you're tired, you need to get rest. Stay out of, bacteria-filled pools and germ-infested gyms and any place where you could feel the effects of your, your immune system being slightly compromised. So that was a perfectly acceptable compromise for me. He was giving me the green light to do whatever it was I needed to do.
And so, Steve, when we come right back, we're going to talk about, that was 2006. You overcame that recently, some more hurdles, and we're going to meet Steve's family when the Dawn Show continues.